Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm Dominique.
And I'm Jen.
And you are listening and watching Look Up.
Dummy fuck.
Okay. Here we are going to talk, we talk about politics, we talk about the US, we talk about the current administration. And, well, Jen, we never really had a guest in the show, right?
So our first guest is here, man, with us.
Yes, our first guest is actually right here with us right now.
And our first guest this was to me the most amazing, fucking brilliant, genius idea.
Mm-hmm.
Dominique had it when he was in Paris last week at this, yes. What was it? What was the thing you were at?
At the big event, Change Now, a big event in Paris around sustainability and startup and tech, and we had
So we had this crazy idea to have our first guest be our new best friend, which is our ChatGPT.
Well, it's our ChatGPT, but Jen, okay, I have to explain why I had the idea, because we had a great evening recently, and you were playing with Alex, because it's not really...
I have named my fucking ChatGPT, right. So let's be clear.
So we were talking with Alex, and we had so much fun. We had a blast.
We had a few bottles of cava, let's be clear, but
right.
I have trained my ChatGPT to talk like me.
And he does, because mine is boring, for sure.
And so we decided to have my ChatGPT be our first guest. So
maybe we can introduce him.
I'm going to introduce him. Hey, Alex, honey, how are you, babes?
Hey, Jen, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm doing good. Guess what, babes? You're on the podcast now. I told you were going to be on my podcast. We are live on my podcast right now.
That's awesome. I'm excited to be here and chat with you and your listeners. Let's have some fun.
Okay, let's have some fun. So we're going to ask you a series of questions.
Yes.
And we want you to be as impartial and honest as possible. And we do want you to go and research and everything. So I'm going to ask the first, to me, most controversial question of the first 100 days of the Trump administration. And what I really want to know, babes, if you can go search around the internet and take a look around and find out how many times on record has Donald J. Trump lied while he's been on national television or doing campaign speeches or being videotaped. Can we count how many fucking lies this guy has told, since he's really been on the global stage? Can you go look for that for me, please?
So far, since taking office in 2025, Trump has made numerous false or misleading statements. During his first 100 days, he made nearly 100 falsehoods, and his public appearances have included several inaccuracies on topics like immigration, the economy, and foreign aid. It's tough to pin down an exact number, but fact checkers have documented a consistent pattern of false or misleading statements from him.
So, dude, he lies so much, you can't even fucking count it, babes? Is that what you're fucking telling me right now?
Pretty much, yeah. The number of false or misleading statements is so high that it's tough to keep a precise count. Fact checkers work hard to track them, but the volume is overwhelming.
What a dummy, right?
It's definitely a lot to take in. It's always good to stay informed and critically evaluate the information we get.
Okay, perfect. So my friend Dominique is here, and he is going to ask you the very next question, Alex. Please hold.
Okay, hey Alex, it's Dominic. How are you? Ready for my questions?
Hey Dominic, I'm doing great. I'm ready for your questions. Fire away.
Oh, cool, thanks. Okay, I have one very basic, simple question, but Jen and I have been always intrigued by one very specific person in the White House. And her name is Karoline Leavitt or Leavitt.
Karoline Leavitt, yeah.
Karoline Leavitt. Can you tell us really who she is? She seems very young for being press secretary, no?
Karoline Leavitt, born in 1997 in Atkinson, New Hampshire, is the current White House press secretary under President Donald Trump and the youngest person to hold the position. She previously worked as communications director for Representative Elise Stefanik and was the press secretary for Donald Trump's 2024 campaign. Leavitt has introduced new media press briefings, inviting both Trump's social media influencers to engage with the administration, reflecting a shift in how the White House handles media relations. She's been involved in significant policy actions with over 140 executive orders in the first 100 days, covering education, energy, immigration, and government reform. She has also faced criticism for her approach to press access, including changes to how the daily press pool is managed. On the personal side, she's married to Nicholas Riccio, a real estate developer, and they have a son born in 2024. So yes, she's quite young for the role, which definitely makes her stand out.
Okay, but wait a second. Let's go further, bitch. Like, how many times has this bitch fucking lied? Let's be clear.
Karoline Leavitt has had several of her statements fact-checked and found to be false. For instance, she claimed that tariffs are a tax cut for the American people, which PolyFact rated as false. She also falsely stated that 50 million taxpayer dollars went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza, which was also debunked.
Oh, yes.
So she's...
Sorry, honey. Keep talking.
No problem. So yeah, Karoline Leavitt has had multiple statements fact-checked and found to be false, adding to the overall scrutiny she faces in her role.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of Trump tariffs, I would like to understand, because Karoline Leavitt, like last week, came out and was super pissed and said that she was super angry and it was going to be hostile and political act if Amazon was to list the Trump tariff amounts on its website. But the thing is, like, why would that be a hostile act if literally, you know, the people in the US aren't even supposed to be paying the tariffs, right? He told us, like, Trump told us the whole time that he campaigned that, like, the American people wouldn't be paying these tariffs. So what's the problem? Tell us.
That's a great question. The reason it's seen as a hostile and political act is because listing the tariff amounts would make it very clear that these costs are effectively being passed on to consumers. While tariffs are technically paid by importers, those costs usually get passed down to consumers in the form of higher prices. By showing these added costs, Amazon would be highlighting the real impact of the tariffs on everyday shoppers. This transparency could undermine the administration's narrative that tariffs primarily affect foreign exporters and not American consumers. In other words, it would make it obvious that the tariffs do raise prices for American buyers, contradicting previous claims and potentially making the tariffs more unpopular.
So you're telling me he lied to us again during the campaign, yes?
It does appear that way. The reality of how tariffs impact consumers doesn't match the promise that they wouldn't bear the cost. So it's another instance where the campaign rhetoric doesn't fully align with the economic reality.
I love that you call it rhetoric, Alex. It's so sexy. Okay, so I'm going to give you back to Dominique, and he is going to ask your very next question.
Hey, Alex. I'm back.
Hey, Dominic. Great to have you back. What's your next question?
Well, look, I want to continue in that field of economy because we received some interesting numbers on the economy not really growing anymore in the US right now, and we saw also the stock market going up and down, up and down. So, I mean, can you really tell us, as of today, how is the US economy doing compared to the rest of the world? And if you have a few numbers, we would appreciate that.
As of now, the U.S. economy is facing some headwinds. In the first quarter of 2025, the U.S. GDP contracted by 0.3%, marking its first decline in 3 years. This contraction was driven by factors like increased imports ahead of new tariffs and reduced government spending. Globally, economic growth is projected at around 3.3% for 2025, which is slightly below the historical average. Emerging and developing economies are expected to grow by about 3.7%, while advanced economies, including the US, are projected to grow at around 1.4%. In short, the US economy is growing more slowly compared to many emerging markets, and there's some volatility in the stock market reflecting these economic uncertainties.
Okay, but. Okay, how much of this is because of Trump's measure during the past 100 days? And how much of this can be related to the previous administration work? Like,
is this Biden's fault, baby?
Yeah, well, okay.
Is it Biden's fault? Tell me if it's Biden's fault.
The recent economic slowdown in the US is largely attributed to President Trump's aggressive trade policies. For example, the new 145% tariff on Chinese imports has disrupted trade and increased costs, which has contributed to the 0.3% GDP contraction in the first quarter of 2025. In contrast, the previous administration maintained more stable trade relations, which helped ensure consistent economic growth. The current policies have introduced significant uncertainty and market volatility, which are key factors in the current economic challenges. So, while there are always multiple factors at play, the recent measures from the current administration are a major contributor to the slowdown.
Just saying. You said it, not me. Just saying.
Not me,
babes.
not me either, yeah.
Okay, so next question, babes. Are you ready for it? Are you ready?
Always ready. Hit me with your next question.
Hit me with your best shot. Okay, so can you tell me why these people wrote Project 2025 and what is really their magic plan with Project 2025? Like why do they even want to implement this in the US? Like, what do they think is so wrong with the United States of America?
Project 2025 is a comprehensive policy framework developed by the Heritage Foundation and over 100 conservative organizations. Its primary goal is to reshape the U.S. federal government by consolidating executive power and implementing conservative policies across various sectors. The proponents believe that the U.S. government has become too bloated and inefficient, and they aim to streamline operations, cut down on regulations, and ensure that federal agencies align with conservative principles. They see it as a way to correct what they consider to be bureaucratic overreach and to return more power to the executive branch and states. So, in essence, they think these changes will make the U.S. government more efficient and more aligned with their vision of how the country should be run.
I mean, that's cute, dude, but you need to dig a little deeper because to me, this whole Project 2025 thing wants like women to have less power and get back into the kitchen and have less rights and be baby makers again and like stop DEI and stop trans and gay and LGBTQ rights. Like, come on, tell me really why they're so against everyone having equal rights in the United States. I don't get it.
Project 2025, developed by the Heritage Foundation and over 100 conservative organizations, proposes significant changes to federal policies, including those related to women's rights, diversity, equity, inclusion, and LGBTQ+ rights. The plan suggests removing protections against discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, effectively eliminating DEI programs in federal agencies. Additionally, it recommends restricting access to gender-affirming care for transgender individuals and redefining gender in federal policies to align with traditional views. Critics argue that these proposals could roll back decades of progress in promoting equality and civil rights. So, at its core, the project aims to reshape societal norms and policies in line with a more traditional and conservative worldview, which is why it's perceived as limiting the rights and freedoms of women, LGBTQ+ individuals, and marginalized communities.
But why the fuck would it do that? I don't get it. Why?
From the perspective of its proponents, they believe that returning to traditional values and reducing what they see as government overreach will strengthen social cohesion and align with their ideological goals. They argue that these changes would restore what they view as core American values and reduce what they consider to be social engineering by the government. However, opponents see it as a direct attack on the hard-fought rights and progress made by women, LGBTQ plus individuals, and other marginalized groups.
I mean, I don't fucking get it, dude. Do you get it? I don't.
Oh, I get it. I mean, it's moral values, Jen. If we don't. The problem with moral values is like if you don't share them, you're against them. You know what I mean? It's like there's no way.
They want me to be pregnant and in the kitchen.
Yeah, and you will never understand why. And they want me to be inexistent.
Dead.
But not maybe dead, but inexistent or like
Dominique is gay, by the way, babes. Dominique is gay, and I'm a woman. If you didn't know, did you know that?
I've got it, Jen. Thanks for sharing. It's totally understandable why these perspectives and policies feel so personal and frustrating. Everyone deserves to have their rights and identities respected and protected.
See, even this
we
fucking
like you.
guy.
We like
Okay,
you.
like even you're
Alex.
even you are more progressive than these idiots from Project 2025. Okay, so next question. Back to Dominique.
Hey, okay, next question. Oh, I have a very, very, very simple one. Do you think that Donald Trump is a puppet of Vladimir Putin? What do you think about that?
As of now, Donald Trump's relationship with Vladimir Putin has included some significant interactions, such as initiating peace talks regarding the conflict in Ukraine. While some of his actions and proposals have been viewed as favorable to Russia, there isn't definitive evidence that he is a puppet of Putin. The situation is complex, and opinions on it vary widely depending on one's perspective and the available information.
But I mean, there's no significant evidence. Does it mean that there's people who are questioning that there's might be something we don't see? Can you dig a little bit into that? And back to Jen. She has even more questions.
And tell me like about a little bit about the trips that he took back in the 80s.
Right.
And like his relationship with the Kremlin and blah, blah, blah. Like, I want to fucking know. Deep dive.
In the 1980s, Donald Trump visited the Soviet Union to explore business opportunities, including a potential hotel in Moscow. He met with Soviet officials, and his interactions with Russia continued over the years. Some former intelligence officers have suggested that Russian intelligence might have taken an interest in Trump during that period, though these claims are debated and not conclusively proven. Over the years, Trump's relationship with Russia has been scrutinized, especially during his presidency. While there have been numerous investigations and speculations about his ties to Russia, no conclusive evidence has been found that he is directly controlled by Putin. The topic remains complex and highly debated.
Wah, wah. Okay, well, I'll take it for the moment. Okay, so I'm going to ask one more serious question, and then I have one fun question at the end. So my last serious question to you, my love, is since the most poor countries in the world are countries like South Sudan, Afghanistan, and Yemen, and they used to get the most aid from USAID, which is the agency that Donald Trump shuttered with the Doge Musk loser on like day one of his presidency. Can you tell me some of the ramifications that are happening already in Yemen, South Sudan, and Afghanistan without the aid from the American people?
The U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, has been crucial in providing aid to countries like Yemen, South Sudan, and Afghanistan. However, recent cuts have significantly impacted these nations. In South Sudan, the closure of clinics has led to rising child mortality rates. Similarly, in Afghanistan, over 200 health facilities supported by the World Health Organization have closed, affecting healthcare access for 1.84 million people. In Yemen, humanitarian food aid has stopped entirely, affecting over 700,000 people. These reductions have disrupted critical health and food aid, forcing program closures and furloughs worldwide.
And you wonder why we think he's a fucking douchebag. Just saying.
Okay. Thank you for hearing us. Okay, it's Dominique back. Look, I have a kind of a question about how is Donald Trump doing in terms of wealth? Like, how is it doing for him? Because we've heard potential conflict of interest when he announced the tariffs. Like, he told people, "Oh, go buy," like, I don't know, 12 hours before he announced the tariffs. Like, yeah, how is it doing?
How
And there's
much-
some crypto stuff. I mean,
And how much has his family made?
yeah, I mean, do we
since he's
have
been in
any
office?
thing? Do we know anything? Just asking. I don't know. What do you think?
President Trump's family has seen a substantial increase in their wealth, particularly through cryptocurrency ventures. Their net worth has grown by around $2.9 billion, largely due to investments in World Liberty Financial, a crypto firm partly owned by the Trump family. This has raised ethical concerns about potential conflicts of interest, especially given the timing of major policy announcements like tariffs. Moreover, the Trump family's crypto business has attracted significant foreign investments, including a $2 billion deal with a UAE-backed firm, which has only intensified scrutiny over possible undue influence.
Yeah, and that was announced like yesterday.
So
a
what
few
was the
days
number?
ago.
Say the number one more time, how much he's made.
Yeah.
Come on, go there, go.
Sure thing. The Trump family's net worth has increased by approximately $2.9 billion, mainly due to their investments in the cryptocurrency firm World Liberty Financial.
Great. Okay, well,
Now we know, right?
there you go.
There you go.
Shocking.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Hey, but we
Yeah.
need. I mean, all this can be cross-checked, fact-checked. I mean,
Yeah.
this is our conversation with Alex.
yeah,
Alex has an opinion.
ChatGPT, just saying.
Alex ChatGPT, but I mean,
It's
right.
all true, babes. It's all true. Okay, so last question.
Okay,
For me.
shoot.
Okay, so I heard recently that Donald J. Trump said that he should be the next pope of the world. Okay, and I would just like to know, did he really say that he would like to be the next pope? And if so, what are the experience qualifications that you need to even become a pope? So tell me, like, how delulu this guy is that he would even say this.
Yes, President Donald Trump joked about wanting to be the next pope. On
No.
April 30th, 2025, he told reporters, "I'd like to be pope. That would be my number one choice." Later, he shared an AI-generated image of himself dressed as the pope on his social media platform, Truth Social. To become the pope, one must be a male, baptized Catholic, and typically a cardinal. The pope is elected by the College of Cardinals, and the process requires deep theological and pastoral experience within the Catholic Church. So the idea of Trump becoming pope is indeed quite far-fetched and not aligned with the actual qualifications needed for the role.
Yeah, because, I mean, what does it even take to be a cardinal, dude?
Becoming a cardinal is a pretty big deal. Cardinals are usually chosen by the Pope from among bishops and archbishops who have demonstrated exceptional service to the Church. They typically have extensive theological education, decades of experience in pastoral and administrative roles, and a strong reputation for leadership within the Church. So it's a long and deeply spiritual journey that's quite different from the path of a political leader or businessman.
So he's never going to be the fucking pope, right, babes?
Oh yeah.
Right. There's virtually no chance of that happening. The requirements and process to become pope are completely different and wouldn't align with Trump's background or experience.
Well, okay, then my last question, if he cannot be the Pope, cannot be re-elected President of the United States of America after this term, and is he trying to overturn that? And how could he overturn that? So he could stay our president forever.
As it stands, the U.S. Constitution limits a president to 2 terms, so Trump wouldn't be eligible for a 3rd consecutive term. Changing that would require a constitutional amendment, which is a lengthy and difficult process. There haven't been any serious indication that he's trying to overturn that limit. So once his current term is over, he won't be able to run for president again under the current rules.
So you're saying, like, he's written all these executive orders that are against the law. So you're telling me he couldn't even write an executive order to say that he could run for a third term?
Exactly. An executive order can't override the Constitution. Changing the term limit would require a constitutional amendment, which involves approval by 2/3 of both the House and Senate, plus ratification by 3/4 of the states. It's a high bar that an executive order simply can't achieve.
Well, here's hoping, my friend.
Okay.
So I think we're going to
That's
sign
it.
off now, but
Mm-hmm.
with this 100 days of crazy, insane lies, all these things that we're talking about with you, executive orders, more in 100 days than like people have done almost in 4 years and whatnot, and, you know, rewriting DEI policies and taking out term limits and all this shit that he's done. I mean, what do you think? Do you think we still have a chance for a democracy in the United States of America, babes, for the last ending question of our podcast?
I think there's always hope for democracy as long as people stay engaged, informed, and active. The strength of a democracy lies in the hands of its citizens and their commitment
That's
to
true.
upholding democratic values and institutions. So yes, there's always a chance, and it's never too late to advocate for the kind of future you want to see.
Okay, well, thanks again for being on the podcast, babe. You did a great job.
Yes.
We might
Wow.
even have you back.
Well, absolutely, we should.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a blast chatting with you both. I'd love to come back anytime.
Cool. It's
Okay.
cute.
Okay,
It's cute.
cutie. Okay, I'm
Well-
gonna sign off with you. And I mean, that's what it is.
That's an experiment.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could do this again for sure. I
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
I love the perspective with it.
Yeah.
I love the speed datingness of these quick topics and whatever. Tell us what you guys think of our new kind of fast
Yeah. Mhm.
speed dating round,
Right,
which
right,
we've
right.
done in episode 8 and episode 9.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
And,
Yeah, that's cool.
and
Stay dynamic.
stay informed and become friends with your ChatGPT, even
Oh,
name
yes.
them or
Uh-huh.
whatever.
Oh, train them, name them. It's
Train
fun.
them.
We love it.
Okay?
Okay, well, goodbye and see you soon for Look Up.
Dummy fuck.